equanimity. Mental calmness, composure, and evenness of temper. Has been a difficult situation. She accepted both the good and the bad with equanimity. Fissure. A state of incompatibility or disagreement. The fissure between private sector business and the newly expanding public sector. Verb with obj. Split or crack to form a long narrow opening. The skin becomes dry, fissured, and cracked. Obfuscation. Ender obscure, unclear, or unintelligible. Entangled. Caused to become twisted together with or caught in. Fish attempt to swim through the mesh and become entangled. Involve in difficulties or complicated circumstances from which it is difficult to escape. The case of murder in which she had found herself so painfully entangled. Vacillated. Alternate or waver between different opinions or actions. Be indecisive. Joviality. Cheerful and friendly. She was in a jovial mood. Comely. Pleasant to look at, attractive. Shroud. Something that cloaks or covers. Inadvertently. Without intention, accidentally, his name had been inadvertently omitted from the list. Analogous. Similar. Polyglot. Speaks many languages. Cantankerous. Bad-tempered, argumentative, and uncooperative. A crusty, cantankerous old man. Didactic. Instructive, learning. Beleaguered. Under siege, blockaded, surrounded, hindered. Polarized. Divide or cause to divide into two sharply contrasting groups or sets of opinions or beliefs. Ostensibly. Seemingly on surface. Estrangement. The estrangement between Vida and her family. Alienation, antagonism, antipathy, disaffection, hostility, unfriendliness. Formidable. Inspiring fear or respect through being impressively large, powerful, intense, or capable. A formidable opponent. Repudiation. Rejection of a proposal or idea. Adroitness. Cleverness or skill. He lacks political adroitness. Punctilious. Showing great attention to detail. Polemical. Critical, hostile, bitter, polemic, virulent, vitriolic, venomous, caustic, trenchant. Proponents. Advocate, champion, supporter, backer, promoter, protagonist, campaigner, booster, cheerleader. Impetuous. Acting or done quickly and without thought or care. Her friend was headstrong and impetuous, moving forcefully or rapidly. An impetuous but controlled flow of water. Mitigated. Alleviate, reduce, diminish, lessen, weaken. Interloper. A person who becomes involved in a place or situation where they are not wanted or are considered not to belong. Expedience. Convenient and practical, appropriate. Compunction. Feeling of guilt after doing something bad. Judicious. Sensible. Between. And. Avuncular. One of or relating to an uncle, kind and friendly toward a younger or less experienced person. An avuncular manner. To anthropology of or relating to the relationship between men and their siblings' children. Concession. Compromise, acceptance, surrender. Hilarity. Extreme amusement. Pluralistic. To coexist. Neither Donna nor Monor. Believe, singular BC separated by nor. The triangle inequality states that 3 lengths can be the lengths of the sides of a triangle if and only if each length is shorter than the sum of the other 2 lengths. Corrective. Remedial. Reticent. Reserved. Effusive. Enthusiastic. Denuded. Strip of its covering, possessions, or assets. Make bare. Almost overnight the Arctic was denuded of animals. Intemperate. Having or showing a lack of self-control. Immoderate. abate, to decrease, to recede. Ubiquity, present, appearing, or found everywhere. Vehement, forceful, ardent, impassioned, heated, spirited. Onerous, burdensome. Assiduousness, diligently working. Vilified, speak or write about in an abusively disparaging manner. He has been vilified in the press. Resuscitate, revive. Voracious, wanting or devouring great quantities of food. Sycophantic, fawning, flattering. Squalid, gross, dirty. Dalliance, a casual romantic or sexual relationship, brief or casual involvement with something. Berkeley was my last dalliance with the education system. Futility, pointlessness or uselessness, the horror and futility of war. Vacillate, alternate or waver between different opinions or actions, be indecisive. Y is directly proportional to x to the 2. Means y equals kx2. Tenuous, thin or shaky. Guileless, innocent and without deception, naive. Abstruse, difficult to understand, complicated. Inscrutable, impossible to understand or interpret. Guy looked blankly inscrutable. Prolific, plentiful. Contemporaneous, existing or occurring in the same period of time. Pythagoras was contemporaneous with Buddha. Watershed, significant moment in history, turning point. Stymied, prevent or hinder the progress of. The changes must not be allowed to stymie new medical treatments. Resigned, long-suffering, uncomplaining, forbearing. Conscientious. Even Douglas, the most conscientious worker in our department, was laid off. Diligent, industrious, punctilious, painstaking, sedulous, assiduous, dedicated. Solicitor, a person who tries to obtain business orders. Apprise, to inform. Sinuously, having many curves and turns. Aphorisms, saying, proverb. Quash, cancel, put an end to. Scathing, witheringly scornful, severely critical. Zealot, a person who is fanatical and uncompromising in pursuit of their religious, political, or other ideals. Can split polygons into triangles. Stock, standard, conventional. Explications, analyze and develop in detail. Pontificate, express opinions pompously. Emporium, a large retail store selling a wide variety of goods. A business establishment that specializes in products or services on a large scale. Precursor, a person or thing that comes before another of the same kind. A forerunner. Vociferous, vehement, passionate. Harbinger, sign, indication, signal, messenger. Hubris, excessive pride or self-confidence. Constituents, one being a part of a whole, the constituent minerals of the rock. Two, being a voting member of a community or organization and having the power to appoint or elect. The constituent body has a right of veto. Not the most number, the largest number. Hackneyed, your hackneyed arguments fail to persuade anyone. Overused, overdone, overworked, worn out, time-worn, platitudinous, vapid, stale. Obdurate, stubbornly refusing to change one's opinion or course of action. Poignant, evoking a keen sense of sadness or regret, a poignant reminder of the passing of time. Forthrightness, direct and outspoken, straightforward and honest. Distension, swell or cause to swell by pressure from inside. propitiatory. Win or regain the favor of by doing something that pleases them. The pagans thought it was important to propitiate the gods with sacrifices. Blindness. Showing a casual and tearful indifference considered to be callous or improper. A blind disregard for the rules of the road. Happy or joyous. A blind seaside comedy. Satirical. Mocking, ironic, ironical, satiric, sarcastic, sardonic. No sooner than. Lethargy. A lack of energy and enthusiasm. Cataclysmic. Relating to or denoting a violent natural event. Staunchly. Loyal and committed in attitude. A staunch supporter of the anti-nuclear lobby. Genteel. Polite, refined, or respectable, often in an affected or ostentatious way. Extrapolated. Estimate or conclude by extrapolating. Disseminate. Spread or disperse. Imminent. About to happen. Pedagogy. The method and practice of teaching is as an academic subject or theoretical concept. Infighting. Hidden conflict or competitiveness within an organization, boxing closer to an opponent than at arm's length. Quandary. Terrible situation. Statute. A written law passed by a legislative body. Autonomy. Self-gov. Refutation. Prove to be wrong or false. Disprove. Reviling. He was reviled as a traitor. Criticize, censure, condemn, attack, inveigh against, rail against, castigate, lambaste, denounce, slander, libel. Preachy. Moralistic. Shopworn. Made dirty or imperfect by being displayed or handled in a store. Jocular. Fond of or characterized by joking, humorous or playful. Indecisive. With doubt. Scintillating. Shine brightly. Either. Or. Arcane. Mysterious. Quixotic. Exceeding the idealistic, unrealistic. Coinciding. When the events coincided, occur simultaneously, happen together, be concurrent, concur, coexist. Two, their interests do not always coincide, correspond, tally, agree, accord, concur, match, fit, be consistent, equate, harmonize, be compatible. Egalitarian. Of, relating to, or believing in the principle that all people are equal and deserve equal rights and opportunities. Elucidates. Make clear, explain. Opulence. Great wealth or luxuriousness. Capitulated. Surrender, give in, slash up. Insipid. Assless, flavorless, bland, weak, wishy-washy, unappetizing, unpalatable. Antonyms: tasty, too insipid. Pictures: unimaginative, uninspired, uninspiring, characterless, flat, uninteresting, lackluster, dull, drab, boring, dry, humdrum, ho-hum, monochrome, tedious, uneventful, run of. Lassitude. Lethargy, listlessness, weariness, languor, sluggishness, tiredness, fatigue. Bequeath. Pass on or leave to someone else. Soporific. Tending to induce drowsiness or sleep. The motion of the train had a somewhat soporific effect. Sleepy or drowsy. Some medicine made her soporific. Tediously boring or monotonous. A libel trial is in large parts intensely soporific. Commiseration. Sympathy, pity, compassion. Curtail. Reduce in extent or quantity. Impose a restriction on. Irresolute. Indecisive, uncertain. Treatise. A treatise on the principles of democracy. Disquisition, essay, paper, work, exposition, discourse, dissertation, thesis, monograph, opus, oeuvre, study, critique, tract, pamphlet, account. Constitute. B. Of a whole, single parents constitute a great proportion of the poor. Combined to form, there were enough members present to constitute a quorum. B. Or B equivalent to, his failure to act constituted a breach of duty. Deterrent. A thing that discourages or is intended to discourage someone from doing something. Ruffled. Disorder or disarrange, typically by running one's hands through it. Lugubrious. Looking or sounding sad and dismal. Not opposition against. Opposition to. Vilified. Disparage, denigrate, defame, run down, revile, abuse. Contentious. Causing or likely to cause an argument, controversial. Propensity. His propensity for giving long speeches, tendency, inclination, predisposition, prudeness, proclivity. Relinquish. Give up. Discrepancy. A lack of compatibility or similarity between two or more facts. There's a discrepancy between your account and his. Ignominy. Public shame or disgrace. Sinecure. Easy job. Pertinent. Relevant or applicable to a particular matter. Apposite. Politicized. Make politically aware is by persuading them of the truth of views considered radical. Extirpation. Root out and destroy completely. Indictment. Abash. Shame. Dissolute. Morally loose, licentious. Just as. So. Prefer. To. Heretical. Holding an opinion at odds with what is generally accepted. Tenuous. Very weak or slight. Ornamentation. Things added to something to provide decoration. A Baroque chandelier with plasterwork ornamentation. Bifurcations. The division of something into two branches or parts. Credulity. A tendency to be too ready to believe that something is real or true. Supplanted. Supersede and replace. Annotate. Add notes to giving explanation or comment. Sophistry. Making false arguments. Clairvoyant. Psychic. Cajoling. Persuade, coax. Abridge. To condense, to shorten. Desecration. To violate the sanctity of, disrespect. Tenable. Able to be maintained or defended against attack or objection. Such a simplistic approach is no longer tenable. Able to be held or used. The post as tenable for 3 years. Clandestine. Kept secret or done secretively is because illicit. Salinely. Obvious or prominent. Vindicate. Clear of blame or suspicion. Hospital staff were vindicated by the inquest verdict. Show or prove to be right, reasonable, or justified. More sober views were vindicated by events. Hamper. To prevent. Jocularity. Fond of or characterized by joking, humorous or playful. She sounded in a jocular mood. His voice was jocular. Treacly. Overly sentimental. Evanescence. Soon passing out of sight, memory, or existence, quickly fading or disappearing. Exonerate. Find innocent. Reciprocate. Respond to by making a corresponding when the favor was reciprocated. Occlusion. The act of blocking something or a specific blockage. Antipodes. Direct opposites. Anomalous. Deviating from what is standard, normal, or expected. Proportional. Y equals kx. Benign. Gentle, kind, warm. Hedonistic. Engaged in the pursuit of pleasure, sensually self-indulgent, a hedonistic existence of drink, drugs, and parties. Prudent. Wise, sensible. Veer. turn, swerve, curve, swing, shear, career, weave, wheel, change direction, change course, go off course, deviate. Bucolic. Of or relating to the pleasant aspects of the countryside and country life. Facetious. Treating serious issues with deliberately inappropriate humor, flippant. Ameliorate. Make better, make improvements to. Austerity. Severity, strictness, seriousness, solemnity, gravity, frugality, thrift, economy, asceticism, self-discipline, abstinence, sobriety, restraint, chastity, starkness. Menagerie. A collection of wild animals kept in captivity for exhibition. Paragon. Ideal model. More than. Perfunctory. Carried out with minimum effort, mechanical. Not only, but also. Filial. A display of filial affection, dutiful, devoted, compliant, respectful, affectionate, loving. Tenuous. Very weak or slight. Cumbersome. When a cumbersome diving suit, unwieldy, unmanageable, awkward, clumsy, inconvenient, incommodious, bulky, large, heavy, hefty, weighty, burdensome, informal, hulking, clunky, too cumbersome procedures, complicated, complex, involved, inefficient, unwieldy, slow. Happenstance. Coincidence. Perennial. Enduring, lasting, everlasting. Non-partisans. A lack of affiliation with a political party. Placid. Not easily upset or excited. This horse has a placid nature, calm and peaceful, with little movement or activity, the placid waters of a small lake. Amenable. Open and responsive to suggestion, easily persuaded or controlled. Parents who have had easy babies and amenable children. Predicate. Capable of being acted upon in a particular way. Susceptible to. The patient's had cardiac failure, not amenable to medical treatment. Dogness. Persistence. Momentum. Energy, force, power. Inculcating. Instill by persistent instruction. Precursor. A person or thing that comes before another of the same kind, a forerunner. Histrionic. Melodramatic. Wanton. Deliberate, willful, malicious, spiteful, wicked, cruel. Doctrinaire. Dogmatic, rigid, inflexible, uncompromising, authoritarian, intolerant, fanatical, zealous, extreme. Idiosyncratic. Individual. Degeneration. The state or process of being or becoming degenerate, decline or deterioration. Overgrazing has caused serious degeneration of grassland. Baleful. Menacing, threatening, unfriendly, hostile, antagonistic, evil, evil-intentioned. Punctilious. Very careful with small details. Leery. Cautious or wary due to realistic suspicions, a city leery of gang violence. Circuitous. Longer than the most direct way, the canal followed a circuitous route. Figurative, a circuitous line of reasoning. Sedulous. Diligent, careful, meticulous, thorough, assiduous. Myopic. Short-sighted. Mitigated. Alleviate, reduce, diminish, lessen, weaken, lighten. Coveted. Desire, yearn for, crave. Cavalcade. Procession. Castigation. Reprimand severely. Levy. When imposed to enlisting troops. Irreconcilable. At odds, at variance, conflicting, clashing, antagonistic, mutually exclusive. Defected. Abandon one's country or cause in favor of an opposing one. Tangential. Diverging from a previous course or line. Erratic, tangential thoughts hardly touching a matter. Peripheral. ineffable, indescribable, precarious. Those steps look a bit precarious, uncertain, insecure, unpredictable, risky, parlous, hazardous, dangerous, unsafe. Scuttled. Run hurriedly or furtively with short, quick steps. A mouse scuttled across the floor. Ardent. Enthusiastic or passionate. Disparage. Regard or represent as being of little worth. He never missed an opportunity to disparage his competitors. Consummate. Complete. Elliptical. Cryptic, abstruse, ambiguous, obscure, oblique. Banal. Commonplace, boring. Conflagration. An extensive fire that destroys a great deal of land or property. Palatable. Acceptable to the mind or senses. Edify. Instruct or improve morally or intellectually. Substantiated. Provide evidence to support or prove the truth of. Flippant. Casual, disrespectful. Inane. Silly, stupid. Stoicism. Endurance, fortitude. In quadratic function, G equals x2 plus bx plus c, A effects and c effects. Plus A, graph open up, A graph open down plus C, positive y and C, negative y and. Consecrated. Sanctify, bless, make holy, make sacred, dedicate to God. Unequivocal. Clear and without a doubt. Forbearance. Patient self-control, restraint and tolerance. Ungainly. Awkward, clumsy. Fallacious. Fake. Negative slope. Negative infinity. Pernicious. Having a harmful effect is in a gradual or subtle way. Inimitably. So good or unusual as to be impossible to copy, unique. Fidelity. Faithfulness, loyalty, constancy, true-heartedness, trustworthiness, dependability. Vindicate. Clear of blame or suspicion, hospital staff were vindicated by the inquest verdict. Exonerate. Extrapolation. To infer. Absolutist. The acceptance of or belief in absolute principles in political, philosophical, ethical, or theological matters. Reckoning. Placatory. Intended to make someone less angry or hostile. Conciliatory. Prolific. Plentiful, abundant. Ascetic. Austere, self-denying, abstinent, abstemious, self-disciplined, self-abnegating, simple. Resilient. Able to recoil or spring back into shape after bending, stretching, or being compressed. Able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. The fish are resilient to most infections. Cursory. Hasty and therefore not thorough or detailed. A cursory glance at the figures. Phlegmatic. Having an unemotional and stolidly calm disposition. Bigger the slope, thinner the graph. Bolstered. Strengthen, reinforce. Recondite. Abstruse, arcane, esoteric, research, profound, difficult, complex. Epistles. Letter. Becalmed. Motionless. Convivial. Friendly, lively, and enjoyable, cheerful and friendly, jovial. Prodigious. Remarkable in extent, unnatural. Flotsam. People or things that have been rejected and are regarded as worthless. The room was cleared of boxes and other flotsam. Esoteric. Hard to understand. Corroborating. Confirm or give support to. Exhort. Strongly encourage or urge. Subverting. Overthrow, undermine. Callous. Insensitive. Immutable. fixed, set, rigid, inflexible, permanent, established. Adroit. Clever or skillful in using the hands or mind, he was adroit at tax avoidance. Convocation. Calling PPLE for a formal ceremony, meeting. Burgeoned. Begin to grow or increase rapidly, flourish. Ardor. Approaching the project with ardor, passion, fervor, zeal, vehemence, intensity. Verb, fire, emotion, enthusiasm, eagerness, avidity, gusto, keenness, dedication. Ambiguous. Obscure, unclear. Intransigence. A stubborn refusal to change your views. Altruistic. Selfless. Aplomb. Self-confidence or assurance. Invigorate. Give strength or energy to. The showerhead invigorated her. Stratified. Form or arrange into strata. Socially stratified cities. No OBJ. The residues have begun to stratify. Ebullient. Exuberant, buoyant, cheerful, joyful, cheery, merry, jolly, sunny, jaunty, light-hearted. Rymond. Clothing ladies clothed in rymond bedecked with jewels. Austerity. 1. Strictness, seriousness, solemnity, gravity. 2. Frugality. Efficacious. Successful in producing a desired or intended result. Effective. The vaccine has proved both efficacious and safe. Officious. Unwanted help, self-important, bumptious, self-assertive, overbearing, overzealous, domineering, opinionated, interfering, intrusive, meddlesome. Variegated. Multicolored, multicolor, many-colored, many-hued, polychromatic, varicolored, colorful, prismatic, rainbow, kaleidoscopic. Bane. Headache, nightmare, trial. Licentious. Scandalous. Permeated. Pervade, spread through. Non-porous. Not allowing liquid or air to pass through it, not porous. Castigated. Reprimand severely. Reconnaissance. Military observation of a region to locate an enemy or ascertain strategic features. An excellent aircraft for low-level reconnaissance, preliminary surveying or research. Conducting client reconnaissance. Acquiescence. The reluctant acceptance of something without protest. Anachronistic. In the wrong time period. Susceptible. One likely or liable to be influenced or harmed by a particular thing. Patients with liver disease may be susceptible to infection, easily influenced by feelings or emotions. Sensitive. They only do it to tease him, he's too susceptible. Converge. Come together from different directions so as eventually to meet. Synergy. Combined effort. Not so much as. Finesse. One intricate and refined delicacy, orchestral playing of great finesse, artful subtlety, typically that needed for tactful handling of a difficulty. Clients want advice and action that calls for considerable finesse. 2. An attempt to win a trick with a card that is not a certain winner. Insolvent. Bankrupt, ruined. Provincialism. Pundit. An expert in a particular subject or field who is frequently called on to give opinions about it to the public. Misnomer. A wrong or inaccurate name or designation. Catalogued. A complete list of items, typically one in alphabetical or other systematic order in particular. Monochromic. Representation or reproduction in black and white or in varying tones of only one color. Charlatan. Cheat. Stagnation. Still. Infelicity. A thing that is inappropriate. A remark or expression. She winced at their infelicities and at the clumsy way they talked. Bereft of. Deprived of. Vitriolic. filled with bitter criticism or malice, vitriolic attacks on the politicians, vitriolic outbursts. Maverick, an unorthodox or independent-minded person. Retroactive, looking to the past. Archaic, very old or old-fashioned. Intermittent, intermittent bursts of gunfire, sporadic, irregular, fitful, spasmodic, broken, fragmentary. Impugned, dispute truth of something, challenge. Purveyor, seller, vendor, retailer, supplier, trader, peddler, hawker. Inhibited, unable to act in a relaxed and natural way because of self-consciousness or mental restraint. Dogmatic, opinionated, peremptory, assertive, insistent, emphatic, adamant, doctrinaire. Whether, or. Repudiate, renounce, abandon. Complacent, smug. Conjecture, an opinion or conclusion formed on the basis of incomplete information. Finesse, one intricate and refined delicacy, orchestral playing of great finesse, artful subtlety, typically that needed for tactful handling of a difficulty. Clients want advice and action that calls for considerable finesse to an attempt to win a trick with a card that is not a certain winner. Verb with. Hitherto, previously, formerly, earlier, before, beforehand, so far, thus far, to date, as yet, until now. Unequivocal, leaving no doubt, unambiguous, an unequivocal answer. Exploit, make full use of and derive benefit from. Autonomous, self-governing, self-ruling. Impasse, stoppage, blockage. Interposed, place or insert between one thing and another. Smaller the slope, thicker the graph. Tenuous, very weak or slight. Supersedes, replace. Reticence, restraint, inhibition, diffidence, shyness. Bereavement, be deprived of a loved one through a profound absence due to the loved one's death. Vacuous, inane, unintelligent, insipid, foolish, stupid, fatuous, idiotic, brainless, witless, vapid, vacant. Credence, belief in or acceptance of something as true. Sundry, various, miscellaneous. Engender, be the cause of. Precursor, a person or thing that comes before another of the same kind, a forerunner. Debilitate, weaken. Unassailable, unable to be attacked, questioned, or defeated, an unassailable lead. Immaterial, without relevance. Preeminence, quality of having superior rank or importance. Transient, transitory, temporary, short-lived, short-term, ephemeral, impermanent, brief, short, momentary. Impetuousness, acting or done quickly and without thought or care. Her friend was headstrong and impetuous. Fecund, fertile, fruitful, productive. Cathartic, providing psychological relief through the open expression of strong emotions. Commensurate, corresponding in size or degree. In proportion, salary will be commensurate with experience. Synchrony, simultaneous action, development, or occurrence. Tenacious, stubborn. Concord, agreement, harmony, accord, consensus. Munificent, generous, philanthropic. Ruse, ploy, cunning scheme. Obstinacy, stubbornness, inflexibility. Acquisition, an asset or object bought or obtained, typically by a library or museum. Jaded, lacking enthusiasm. Diaphanous, light, delicate, and translucent. Deriding. The kid I used to deride in junior high is now my boss. Ridicule, mock, scoff at, jibe at, make fun of, poke fun at, laugh at. Prosaic. Ordinary. Incontrovertible. Indisputable, undeniable. Lauds. Praise, extol, hail, applaud, acclaim, commend, sing the praises of, speak highly of. Ascertain. Find out, discover, get to know, work out, make out. Irresolute. Showing or feeling hesitancy, uncertain. She stood irresolute outside his door. Steadfast. Resolutely or dutifully firm and unwavering, steadfast loyalty. Ephemeral. Temporary, transitory. Mediated. Peacemaker. Economizing. Spend less, reduce one's expenses. Impetuosity. Acting or done quickly and without thought or care. Her friend was headstrong and impetuous, moving forcefully or rapidly, an impetuous but controlled flow of water. Parochial. One church parish, too narrow-minded. Attenuated. One attenuated fingers, thin, slender, narrow, slim, skinny, spindly, bony. Rare. Attenuate to the patient's muscle activity was much attenuated, weakened, reduced, lessened, decreased, diminished, impaired. Totalitarian. A totalitarian regime, autocratic, undemocratic, one-party, dictatorial, tyrannical, despotic, fascist, oppressive, repressive, illiberal. Effrontery. Insolent or impertinent behavior, imprudence. Precipitous. Steep or sudden. Cacophonous. Noisy, loud, ear-splitting, raucous, discordant, dissonant, jarring, grating, inharmonious. Acumen. Astuteness, shrewdness, acuity, sharpness, sharp-wittedness, cleverness, smartness, brains, judgment, understanding, awareness, sense, common sense, canniness. Corollary. Consequence, result, end result, upshot, effect, repercussion, product, byproduct, offshoot. Curtails. Reduce. Bucolic. Of or relating to the pleasant aspects of the countryside and country life. Deftly. Skillful. Euphemisms. Different way of saying something, indirect, circumlocution. Inundation. An overwhelming abundance of people or things. We see an inundation of campaign posters. 2. Flooding. The annual inundation of the Nile areas at risk of inundation. Dilettante. Amateur, non-professional, non-specialist, layman, layperson. Galvanized. Shock or excite, typically into taking action. The urgency of his voice galvanized them into action. Aspersion. An attack on the reputation or integrity of someone or something. I don't think anyone is casting aspersions on you. Avaricious. Greed. Accosted. Confront, call to, shout to, hail, address. Backlash. 1. Insane, a strong and adverse reaction by a large number of people faced to a social or political development, a public backlash against racism. 2. Recoil arising between parts of a mechanism, degree of play between parts of a mechanism. Vicarious. Experienced in the imagination through the feelings or actions of another person. Quelled. Detractor. Critic. Mellifluous. Sweet-sounding, dulcet, honeyed, mellow, soft, liquid, silvery, soothing. Naturalistic. Derived from real life or nature or imitating it very closely. Insofar. To the extent that he decided that philosophy spoke of personal problems only insofar as they illustrated general ones. Vector. An organism such as an insect that transmits pollen. Vivacious. Attractively lively and animated. Denunciation. public condemnation of someone or something. Stagnation. Cease to flow or move, become stagnant, cease developing, become inactive or dull. Teaching can easily stagnate into a set of routine, stagnating consumer confidence. Distance formula. Resolute. Admirably purposeful, determined, and unwavering. Jingoism. Extreme patriotism, chauvinism, extreme nationalism, xenophobia, flag-waving, hawkishness, militarism, belligerence, bellicosity. Magisterial. Authoritative, masterful, assured, lordly, commanding, assertive. Autonomous. An autonomous republic, self-governing, self-ruling, self-determining, independent, sovereign, free, unmonitored. Yen. Yearning, desire. Subsidize. Support financially. It was beyond the power of a state to subsidize a business. Recede. Anomalies. Something that deviates from what is standard, normal, or expected. Amenable. Open and responsive to suggestion, easily persuaded or controlled. Parents who have had easy babies and amenable children. Zealous. Passionate, fervent. Sanguine. Optimistic, bullish, hopeful. Rectitude. Morally correct behavior or thinking. Righteousness. Maddie is a model of rectitude. Nihilistic. Rejecting all religious and moral principles in the belief that life is meaningless. An embittered, nihilistic teenage. Debase. To lower in quality or value. Calamitous. Disastrous. Not. But. Convivial. Friendly, lively, and enjoyable. Cheerful and friendly, jovial. Progenitor. Ancestor. Acidified. Become inflexible, become rigid, fossilize, calcify, rigidify, stagnate. Clauses. A new clause in the treaty, section, paragraph, article, subsection, stipulation, condition, proviso, rider. Anachronistic. Avant-garde. New forms, innovative. Waft. Pass or cause to pass easily or gently through or as if through the air. Feverish. Having or showing the symptoms of a fever. He suffered from feverish colds, displaying a frenetic excitement or energy. The next couple of weeks were spent in a whirl of feverish activity. Remiss. I would be remiss if I did not thank my sister. Negligent, neglectful, irresponsible, careless, thoughtless, heedless, lax, slack, slipshod, lackadaisical. Seditious. Inciting or causing people to rebel against the authority of a state or monarch. The letter was declared seditious. Invectives. An abusive expression or speech. Forestall. Prevent or obstruct by taking action ahead of time. Forbearance. Patient self-control, restraint and tolerance. Ramshackle. In a state of severe disrepair, a ramshackle cottage. Rescind. Revoke, cancel, or repeal. The government eventually rescinded the directive. Querulous. Complaining in a petulant or whining manner. Liberality. 1. The quality of giving or spending freely. 2. The quality of being open to new ideas and free from prejudice. Liberality toward bisexuality. Ratification. Approval. Rancorous. Bitterly hated. Countenance. When a person's face or facial expression, his impenetrable eyes and inscrutable countenance give little away to support. She was giving her specific countenance to the occasion. Verb. With obj. Admit is acceptable or possible. He was reluctant to countenance the use of force. Maudlin. Over-sentimental, emotional. Panache. Flamboyant confidence of style or manner. Despotic. Of or typical of a despot, tyrannical, a despotic regime. Demagogue. political leader who follows popular ideals, mob leader, unofficial leader of the people. Perfidy, duplicity, deceit, deceitfulness, disloyalty, infidelity, faithlessness, unfaithfulness, betrayal. Surly, bad-tempered and unfriendly, he left with a surly expression. Dilatory, slow. Avocation, a hobby or minor occupation. Innocuous, not harmful or offensive, it was an innocuous question. Apolitical, not interested or involved in politics, a former apolitical housewife. Predisposed, have hunches, prepared, ready, of a mind, inclined. Reticent, reserved. Avenger, inflict harm on behalf of, we must avenge our dead. Prescient, having or showing knowledge of events before they take place, a prescient warning. Incongruous, not in harmony or keeping with the surroundings or other aspects of something. Integrates, combine. Stockpiling, a large accumulated stock of goods or materials, one held in reserve for use at a time of shortage or other emergency. Recessive, withdrawn or detached and tending to recede. Superfluous, excessive, unnecessary. Virtuosity, skillful. Fatalistic, the belief that all events are predetermined and therefore inevitable. Chicanery, the use of trickery to achieve a political, financial, or legal purpose. Miscreants, criminal. Resolute, determined. Equitable, fair and impartial, an equitable balance of power. Novelty, the quality of being new, original, or unusual, originality. Astute, smart. Transience, the state or fact of lasting only for a short time, transitory nature, the transience of life and happiness. Auspicious, favorable, opportune. Imperturbable, unable to be upset or excited, calm. Penitent, feeling guilty. Predilection, a preference or special liking for something, a bias in favor of something. Multifarious, diverse, many, numerous, various, varied, diversified, multiple, multitudinous. Autonomy, self-rule. Orthodox, one orthodox views, conventional, mainstream, conformist, established, well-established, traditional, traditionalist, prevalent, popular, conservative, unoriginal, to an Orthodox Hindu, conservative, traditional, observant, devout, strict. Dogmatic, inclined to lay down principles as incontrovertibly true, he gives his opinion without trying to be dogmatic. Fundamentalism, a form of a religion, especially Islam or Protestant Christianity, that upholds belief in the strict, literal interpretation of Scripture, strict adherence to the basic principles of any subject or discipline, free market fundamentalism. Tractable, malleable, manageable, amenable, pliable, governable, yielding, complacent, compliant, game, persuadable, accommodating, docile. Rancor, bitterness, spite. Succinct, short, brief, compact, condensed. Circumlocution, evasive speech, speaking around a subject. Ephemeral, last year's ephemeral fashions, transitory, transient, fleeting, passing, short-lived, momentary, brief, short, temporary, impermanent, short-term, fly-by-night. Imbued, inspire or permeate with a feeling or quality. The entire performance was imbued with sparkle and elan. Deride, express contempt for, ridicule. Appraisals, An act of assessing something or someone. Treatment begins with a thorough appraisal of the patient's condition. The report has been subject to appraisal. An expert estimate of the value of something. The final figure is just a little more than triple the appraisal. Valor. Bravery. Paradigms. Model. Pattern. Example. Adverse to. Preventing success or development. Harmful. Unfavorable. Dowager. A widow with a title or property derived from her late husband. Dignified elderly woman. Recourse. Option. Possibility. Alternative. Resort. Way out. Hope. Remedy. Choice. Expedient. Irrefutable. Impossible to deny or disprove. Officious. Assertive of authority in an annoyingly domineering way with regard to petty or trivial matters. Dichotomies. A division or contrast between two things that are or are represented as being opposed or entirely different. Trepidation. Fear. Empirical. Experimental. Incongruity. Not in harmony or keeping with the surroundings or other aspects of something. Irascibility. Having or showing a tendency to be easily angered. Eulogy. A speech or piece of writing that praises someone or something highly, typically someone who has just died. Clandestine. Kept secret or done secretively is because illicit. She deserved better than these clandestine meetings. Destitution. Poverty so extreme that one lacks the means to provide for oneself. The family faced eviction and destitution. Penitent. Feeling or showing sorrow and regret for having done wrong. Repentant. A penitent expression. Indomitable. Impossible to subdue or defeat. A woman of indomitable spirit. Manifesto. Public declaration of goals. Retrenchment. Cutting back on expenses. Metropolis. The capital or chief city of a country or region. Opaque. Not able to be seen through. Not transparent. The windows were opaque with steam. Hard or impossible to understand. Unfathomable. Technical jargon that was opaque to her. Sedate. Calm. Quadrilaterals. 360 degrees. Obstinate. Stubborn. Wistful. Nostalgic. Pensive. Lofty. Tall, of imposing height. Rudimentary. Basic. Elementary. Primary. Fundamental. Essential. Despondent. In low spirits from loss of hope or courage. Bellicose. Aggressive. Sophistry. The use of fallacious arguments is with the intention of deceiving. A fallacious argument. Perverse. Awkward and illogical. Discursive. One dull. Discursive prose. Rambling. Digressive. Meandering. Wandering. Maundering. Diffuse. Long. Lengthy. Wordy. Verbose. Long-winded. Prolix. Circuitous. Roundabout. Circumlocutory. Informal. Waffly. To an elegant discursive style. Fluent. Flowing. Fluid. Eloquent. Expensive. Reticent. Not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. Tactile. Propulsion. Putting something forward. Despoiled. Steal or violently remove valuable or attractive possessions from. Plunder. The church was despoiled of its marble wall covering. Triumvirate. 3 rulers. Ambivalent. Having mixed feelings. Disparaged. Regard or represent as being of little worth. Pallid. Pale. Mawkishness. Sentimental in a feeble or sickly way. Disparaging. Expressing the opinion that something is of little worth. Derogatory, disparaging remarks about public housing. Incorrigible. Stubborn. Chauvinistic. feeling or displaying aggressive or exaggerated patriotism, displaying excessive or prejudiced support for one's own cause, group, or sex. Avaricious, greedy. Effacement. Erase from a surface, make oneself appear insignificant or inconspicuous. Copious. Abundant in supply or quantity. Insurrectionists. A violent uprising against an authority or government. The insurrection was savagely put down. Opposition to the new regime led to armed insurrection. Libertine. 1. A person, a man who behaves without moral principles or a sense of responsibility in sexual matters. 2. A person who rejects accepted opinions in matters of religion, a free thinker. Equivocated. Be evasive, be non-committal, be vague, be ambiguous, dodge the question, beat around the bush. Reproach. Reprimand. Both. And. Prosaic. Ordinary, everyday. Dry humor. Subtle or understated humor. Cursory. Hasty and therefore not thorough or detailed. Dichotomize. Regard or represent as divided or opposed. Deleterious. Causing harm or damage. Incumbent. 1. Predicate necessary for as a duty or responsibility. It is incumbent on all decent people to concentrate on destroying this evil. 2. Attrib. Currently holding office. The incumbent president had been defeated. Precociously. Advanced. Stealthy. Cautiously, secretively. Abet. To aid, to act as an accomplice. Inconspicuous. Not clearly visible or attracting attention. Not conspicuous. An inconspicuous red brick building. Assertion. Declaration. Statement. Remonstrate. Make a forcefully reproachful protest. Subversive. Disruptive troublemaker. Pervasive. Prevalent. Corroborated. Confirmed. Odoriferous. Having or giving off a smell, an unpleasant or distinctive one, spicily concocted with odoriferous herbs. Voluble. Talkative, loquacious, garrulous. Bolster. To strengthen. Revelry. Lively and noisy festivities, when these involve drinking a large amount of alcohol. Strident. Loud and harsh. Obsequious. Obedient or attentive to an excessive or servile degree. Feasible. Possible. Garrulous. Excessive talking, verbose, loquacious. Rancorously. Bitterly. Elliptical. One using or involving ellipsis so as to be difficult to understand, an elliptical lyrical style. Rhapsodize. Speak or write about someone or something with great enthusiasm and delight. He began to rhapsodize about Gabby's beauty and charm. Perennial. Everlasting, perpetual. Litigiousness. Concerned with lawsuits or litigation. Fanfare. A short ceremonial tune. Divulge. Disclose, make known. Contemptuous. The contemptuous look on your face says it all. Scornful, disdainful, disrespectful, insulting, insolent, derisive, mocking, sneering. Hackneyed. Overused, overdone, overworked. Figurehead. Puppet W/authority. Recapitulate. Summarize. Redolent. Evocative, suggestive, reminiscent. Sanctioned. A threatened penalty for disobeying a law or rule. Florid. Milieu. A person's social environment. He grew up in a military milieu. Fulsome. One complimentary or flattering to an excessive degree, they are almost embarrassingly fulsome in their appreciation. 2. Of large size or quantity, generous or abundant, a fulsome harvest. Mediated. Peacemaker, resolve. Centennial. Of or relating to 100th anniversary. Sardonic. Satirical, sarcastic, ironical, ironic, cynical, scornful, contemptuous. Patron. Benefactor. Remonstrate. Make a forcefully reproachful protest. Precarious. Insecure, unpredictable, risky. Genial. Friendly, affable. Marginal. Slight, small, tiny, minute, insignificant. Team. Be full of or swarming with. Dogmatism. The tendency to lay down principles as incontrovertibly true without consideration of evidence or the opinions of others, a culture of dogmatism and fanaticism. Interceded. Intervene on behalf of another. Palpable. Tangible, capable of being touched. Dissonance. Lack of harmony among musical notes. Scrupulous. Diligent, extremely attentive to detail. Whereby. The meaning of which. Soporific. One soporific drugs, sleep-inducing, sedative, somnolent, calmative, tranquilizing, narcotic, opiate, drowsy, sleepy, somniferous, medicine, hypnotic. Antonyms: invigorating. To a soporific TV drama, boring, tedious, tired, dreary, turgid, dry. Prevaricator. Speaking/acting evasively. Imprudent. Unwise, injudicious, incautious, indiscreet, misguided. Bombastic. Pompous, blustering, turgid, verbose, orotund, high-flown, high-sounding, overwrought, pretentious, ostentatious, grandiloquent. Bromide. Trite and unoriginal idea or remark typically intended to soothe or placate. Feel-good bromides create the illusion of problem-solving. Supercilious. Arrogant, superiority complex. Ineffable. Indescribable. Doctrinaire. She is by no means a doctrinaire, conservative, dogmatic, rigid, inflexible, uncompromising, authoritarian, intolerant, fanatical, zealous, extreme. Mediation. Intervention in a dispute in order to resolve it. Arbitration. The parties have sought mediation and it has failed. Intervention in a process or relationship. Intercession. They are offering sacrifice and mediation between God and man. Sedulous. Showing dedication and diligence, he watched himself with the most sedulous care. Receptivity. Able or willing to receive something, signals or stimuli. Protean. Variable, changeable, mutable, kaleidoscopic, inconstant. Byzantine. Situation excessively complicated, typically involving a great deal of administrative detail. Byzantine insurance regulations characterized by deviousness or underhanded procedure. Byzantine intrigues. He has the most Byzantine mind in politics. Belie. To contradict. Genially. Friendly and cheerful. Eschew. Abstain from, refrain from, give up, forego. Neither. Nor. Impassioned. Emotional, heartfelt. Perverse. Awkward, illogical. Castigated. Reprimand severely. Placid. Even-tempered, calm, tranquil, equable, unexcitable. Pliant. Flexible, easily influenced. Buttress. Support. Impetus. The force or energy with which a body moves. Indeterminate. Undetermined, uncertain, unknown. Doubt. When street merchants were touting their wares, peddle, sell, hawk, offer for sale, promote. 2 cab drivers were touting for business, solicit, seek, drum up, ask for, petition for, appeal for. 3 she's being touted as the next party leader, recommend, speak of, extol, advocate, talk of, predict. Galvanized. The reference words galvanized are grouped into action, jolt, shock, startle, impel, stir, spur, prod, urge, motivate, stimulate. Vagary. An unexpected and inexplicable change in a situation or in someone's behavior, the vagaries of the weather. Temporize. He temporized for weeks, hoping the problem would go away, equivocate, procrastinate, play for time. Arboretum. A botanical garden devoted to trees. Corollary. Result, consequence. Languor. 1 fatigue, weariness, sleepiness, drowsiness, 2 stillness, tranquility. Amalgam. A mixture or blend, a curious amalgam of the traditional and the modern. Pedantic. Scrupulous, precise, exact, perfectionist, punctilious, meticulous, fussy, fastidious. Assailed. Assault. Alacrity. Brisk and cheerful readiness, she accepted the invitation with alacrity. Soliciting. 1 will try to solicit his help, ask for, request, seek, apply for, put in for, call for, press for, beg, plead for. 2 they are solicited for their opinions, ask, petition, importune, implore, plead with, entreat, appeal to, lobby, beg, supplicate, call on, press, literary beseech. Halcyon. Happy, perfect, idyllic, prosperous, carefree. Profusion. Abundance. Unctuous. Oily, flattering. Avuncular. 1 of or relating to an uncle, kind and friendly toward a younger or less experienced person, an avuncular manner. 2 Anthropology of or relating to the relationship between men and their siblings' children. Trepidation. Fear, apprehension, dread, fearfulness, fright, agitation, anxiety, worry, nervousness. Propitious. Giving or indicating a good chance of success, favorable. Slipshod. Careless, lackadaisical, slapdash, disorganized, haphazard, hit or miss, untidy. Profligacy. Recklessly extravagant or wasteful in the use of resources. Archaic. Very old or old-fashioned. Tumultuous. Loud. Enigmatic. Mysterious. Vindication. Clear of blame or suspicion. Thresholds. 1 the threshold of the church, doorstep, doorway, entrance, entry, door, gate, gateway, portal, doorsill. 2 the threshold of a new era, start, beginning, commencement, brink, verge, cusp, dawn, inception, day 1, opening, debut, informal kickoff. 3 the human threshold of pain, lower limit, minimum. Sanctimonious. Righteous, making a show of being morally superior to other people. Somnolent. Sleepy, drowsy, causing or suggestive of drowsiness, a somnolent summer day, medicine abnormally drowsy. Ebb. Dying out. Gargantuan. Huge. Defunct. No longer existing, discontinued. At once. And. Acrimonious. Angry, rancorous, caustic. Orthodox. Traditional. Terse. Abrupt. Altruism. The belief in or practice of disinterested and selfless concern for the well-being of others. Transitory. Transient, temporary, brief, short, ephemeral. Acquisitive. Excessively interested in acquiring money or material things. Decimate. To destroy or kill a significant portion. Sanguine. Optimistic. Duplicitous. Deceitful. fraudulent, dishonest, corrupt. Modicum, small amount. Impugned, dispute the truth, validity, or honesty of, call into question the father does not impugn your capacity as a good mother. Unmarried, not impaired. Callously, showing or having an insensitive and cruel disregard for others. Vertiginous, nauseating lightheadedness. Eschewing, abstain from, refrain from. Feckless, useless, lacking skill, incompetent, futile, indifferent, lazy. Vitality, power of endurance. Slovenly, messy or dirty. Streamlined, efficient, smooth running, well run, slick, time saving, labor saving. Reproach, address in such a way as to express disapproval or disappointment. Tandem, a bicycle with seats and pedals for two riders, one behind the other, a carriage driven by two animals harnessed one in front of the other, a group of two people or machines working together. Pertinent, relevant or applicable to a particular matter. Apposite, she asked me a lot of very pertinent questions. Debilitated, weakened. Serendipity, the occurrence and development of events by chance in a happy or beneficial way. Chance, luck. Revisionists, often derogatory, a policy of revision or modification based of Marxism on evolutionary socialist or pluralist principles, the theory or practice of revising one's attitude to a previously accepted situation or point of view. Mendacity, untruthfulness. Protracted, lasting for a long time or longer than expected or usual, a protracted and bitter dispute. Impervious, unaffected by, not allowing to pass through. Precocious, having developed certain abilities or proclivities at an earlier age than usual. Quadratic function, is a parabola. Taciturn, reserved, reticent. Capitulate, surrender. Emphatic, showing or giving emphasis, expressing something forcibly and clearly. The children were emphatic that they would like to repeat the experience. Dislodge, knock or force out of position. The hoofs of their horses dislodged loose stones. Remove from a position of power or authority. Government opponents failed to dislodge the Prime Minister. Conspicuous, visible. Levity, lightheartedness, high spirits, vivacity, liveliness, cheerfulness, cheeriness, humor, gaiety, fun, jocularity, hilarity, frivolity. Impunity, exemption from punishment or freedom from the injurious consequences of an action. The impunity enjoyed by military officers implicated in civilian killings. Protesters burned flags on the streets with impunity. From, to. Sacrilege, violation or misuse of what is regarded as sacred. Austere, 1. Severe, 2. Simple. Consummate, complete something or highly skilled. Inversely proportional, xk equals y. Unencumbered, not having burden or impediment. Bureaucratization, make a system of government in which most of the important decisions are made by state officials rather than by elected representatives. Impelled, drive, force, or urge to do something. Financial difficulties impelled him to desperate measures. Antiquarian, relating to or dealing in antiques or rare books. Perused, read, study, examine. Disingenuous, not candid or sincere. Triage, sorting, determining assignment. Reticent, not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. She was extremely reticent about her personal affairs. Exacerbated, make worse. Aggrandize, increase the power, status, or wealth of an action intended to aggrandize the Frankish dynasty, enhance the reputation of beyond what is justified by the facts. He hoped to aggrandize himself by dying a hero's death. Extraneous, irrelevant or unrelated to subject. Acolytes, assistant or follower. Trivialize, treat as unimportant. Contrived, forced, strained, studied, artificial, affected. Sanguine, optimistic. Miserly, stingy, cheap. Ambivalent, having mixed feelings or contradictory ideas about something or someone. Some loved her, some hated her, few were ambivalent about her. An ambivalent attitude to technology. Auspicious, favorable, propitious, promising, rosy, good, encouraging. Deferential, showing deference, respectful. Fitful, fitful night's sleep, intermittent, sporadic, spasmodic, broken, disturbed, disrupted, patchy, irregular, uneven, unsettled, informal, herky-jerky. Recursive, characterized by recurrence or repetition. Deferential, respectful. Eclectic, an eclectic mix of party music, wide-ranging, broad-based, extensive, comprehensive, encyclopedic, varied, diverse, catholic, all-embracing, multifaceted, multifarious, heterogeneous, miscellaneous, assorted. Caustic, able to burn/corrosive, sarcastic in a bitter way. Callow, inexperienced and immature. Starkness, severe or barren appearance or outline. Mercenary, money-oriented, grasping, greedy, acquisitive, avaricious, covetous, rippable, venal, materialistic. Pathos, tragedy. Panacea, universal cure. Vertex, each angular point of a polygon, polyhedron, or other figure. Contingency, a future event or circumstance that is possible but cannot be predicted with certainty. Itinerant, wanderer, traveler. Embroiled, involved deeply in an argument, conflict, or difficult situation. She became embroiled in a dispute between two women she hardly knew. The movies about a journalist who becomes embroiled with a nightclub owner bring into a state of confusion or disorder. Positive slope, positive infinity. Vacillation, to be indecisive. Obstreperous, noisy and difficult to control. Tempered, moderated. Dictum, pronouncement, proclamation, direction, injunction, dictate, command, commandment, order, decree. Tenacity, persistence, determination, perseverance, doggedness, strength of purpose, tirelessness, indefatigability. Ostentatious, characterized by vulgar or pretentious display, designed to impress or attract notice. Laconic, concise, terse, succinct, short. Lofty, one of imposing height. The elegant square was shaded by lofty palms, of a noble or exalted nature, an extraordinary mixture of harsh reality and lofty ideals, proud, aloof, or self-important, lofty intellectual disdain, too thick and resilient. Denizen, inhabitant or occupant of a particular place. Dissemination, the act of spreading something, is information widely, circulation. Conceited, prodigious, remarkably or impressively great in extent, size, or degree. Husbandry, one the care, cultivation, and breeding of crops and animals, crop husbandry, to management and conservation of resources. Conspicuous, a tropical vine with conspicuous blossoms, easily seen, clear, visible, noticeable, discernible, perceptible, detectable, obvious, manifest, evident, apparent, marked. Circumscribed, restricted or limited. Juxtaposition. The fact of two things being seen or placed close together with contrasting effect. Ubiquitous. Present, appearing, or found everywhere. His ubiquitous influence was felt by all. The family cowboy hats are ubiquitous among the male singers. Morbidity. Characterized by or appealing to an abnormal and unhealthy interest in disturbing and unpleasant subjects, death and disease. Succinctly. Briefly and clearly expressed. Callous. Showing or having an insensitive and cruel disregard for others. His callous comments about the murder made me shiver. Quizzical. Inquiring, questioning, curious. Decorous. Proper, seemly, decent, becoming, befitting, tasteful, correct, appropriate, suitable, fitting, tactful. Complacent. Smug, self-satisfied. Disparaging. Expressing the opinion that something is of little worth, derogatory. Nefarious. Wicked or criminal. Licentiousness. 1. Promiscuous and unprincipled in sexual matters. 2. Archaic, disregarding accepted rules or conventions, a spin grammar or literary style. Compulsive. Obsessive. Sedate. Calm, dignified and unhurried. Quiescent. Dormant, quiet, inactive, motionless. Patronage. 1. Patronage, sponsorship, backing, funding, financing, promotion, assistance, support. 2. Political patronage, power of appointment, favoritism, nepotism, preferential treatment, cronyism, pork-barreling. 3. Thank you for your patronage, custom, trade, business. Indiscriminate. Done at random or without careful judgment. Profundity. Deep insight, great depth of knowledge or thought. Petulant. Childishly sulky or bad-tempered. He was moody and petulant, a petulant shake of the head. Malleable. 1. A malleable substance, pliable, ductile, plastic, pliant, soft, workable. Antonyms: hard. 2. A malleable young woman, easily influenced, suggestible, susceptible, impressionable, pliable, amenable, compliant, tractable, biddable, complacent, manipulable, persuadable, like putty in someone's hands. Floundered. To stumble or break down, struggle. Pugnacious. Eager or quick to argue, quarrel, or fight. Cataclysmic. Violent natural event. Cerebral. Intellectual. Stringent. Strict, firm. Synergistic. Two things combined greater than alone. Infidelity. Disloyalty. Emphatic. Vehement, firm, wholehearted, forceful. Lionized. Celebrate, fate, glorify, honor, exalt. Adulation. Obsequious flattery, excessive admiration or praise. He found it difficult to cope with the adulation of the fans. Equitable. Fair and impartial. Insurgent. Rebellious. Dissension. Disagreement. Callousness. Insensitive and cruel regard toward others. Fortuitous. Happening by accident or chance rather than design, unanticipated, random. Neither. But also. Provisionary. Conditional, temporary. Sensationalism. The use of exciting or shocking stories or language at the expense of accuracy in order to provoke public interest or excitement. Pervasive. Spreading widely. Profiteer. Make or seek to make an excessive or unfair profit, illegally or in a black market. The profiteering of tabloid journalists. Diffident. Modest or shy because of a lack of self-confidence. Decried. Publicly denounce. Cantankerous. Bad-tempered, argumentative, and uncooperative. A crusty, cantankerous old man. alacrity, brisk and cheerful readiness. Plaudits, praise. Imprecation, a spoken curse. Concordance, formal agreement. Vitiated, spoil, waste away, impair quality of. Auxiliaries, providing supplementary or additional help and support. Decisive, without doubt. Salutary, producing good effects, beneficial. Bent, natural talent. Funerary, relating to a funeral or the commemoration of the dead, funerary ceremonies. Decried, denounce, condemn, criticize, censure, attack, rail against, run down. Racked, she was racked with guilt, torment, afflict, torture, agonize, harrow, plague, bedevil, persecute, rack, trouble, worry. Proliferated, grow, spread. Violate, overstep, disobey. Affability, friendliness, the quality of being affable, geniality. Laconic, talk using few words. Reticent, not revealing one's thoughts or feelings readily. She was extremely reticent about her personal affairs. Intransigence, unwilling or refusing to change one's views or to agree about something. Ebullient, cheerful, joyful, bubbly. Reverential, great respect. Effrontery, insolent or impertinent behavior. One juror had the effrontery to challenge the coroner's decision. Raucous, making or constituting a disturbingly harsh and loud noise. Raucous youths. Autonomy, self-rule, home rule, self-determination, independence, sovereignty, freedom. Consort, a wife, husband, or companion, in particular the spouse of a reigning monarch. Inhibition, one shyness, reticence, self-consciousness. 2. Hindrance, obstruction. Vindication, clear of blame or suspicion. Astute, shrewd, sharp, acute, adroit, quick, clever. Germane, relevant, appropriate. Florid, when having a red or flushed complexion, a stout man with a florid face. Too elaborately or excessively intricate or complicated, florid operatic style music without using unusual words or complicated rhetorical constructions. The florid prose of the 19th century.